If you're here right now listening to my voice, it's not by accident. I don't believe in accidents anymore. At 83 years old, after building an empire and weathering storms you can't imagine, I've learned something that changed everything. There's a force, a presence, something far greater than any of us, quietly orchestrating every step. And it's been guiding you too, even when you don't see it, especially when you don't see it. A few months ago, on a completely ordinary morning at my farm in Bedford, something extraordinary happened. I was in my rose garden at 5 a.m., as I am most mornings. The air had that particular September crispness, and in that silence, with my hands in the soil, something shifted. A realization so profound, so simple, that I knew I had to share it. Because if you're here feeling lost, feeling uncertain, feeling like you're navigating life alone, I need you to know something. You're not alone. You've never been alone. I was standing there among my David Austin roses. These roses require attention, patience, understanding. That morning, I was worried about a decision, one of those decisions that keeps you awake at 3 a.m. I'd gone to bed late, which is unusual for me. My routine is sacred. But that night, sleep wouldn't come. My mind was racing, turning this decision over and over. So at 4:30, I gave up. I put on my old Loro Piana cashmere, my wellies, and went outside. The house was silent. Even my French bulldogs, Creme Brulee and Bête Noire, were still sleeping. The world before dawn has a particular quality. It's like the earth is holding its breath, waiting. I walked through the dewy grass carrying my Felco pruners and strong black coffee. The roses were at that perfect late summer stage. The Gertrude Jekylls were particularly stunning, that deep pink that looks almost luminous in early light. I began to prune the way I've done thousands of times. It's meditative work. And as I worked, as the sky shifted from black to deep blue to pale gray, I noticed something. The roses don't struggle to grow. They don't wake up wondering if they deserve sunlight. They simply turn toward the light naturally, instinctively. They trust the process. A bud forms, it opens, it blooms in its time, not because it forces itself, but because that's what it's designed to do. And if conditions aren't right, the rose doesn't panic. It adjusts, it waits, it trusts. Standing there with my hands in the soil, the smell of earth and roses all around me, I had this overwhelming realization. We spend our entire lives fighting, questioning, doubting, trying to control outcomes we were never meant to control. We lie awake worrying as if our worry will somehow influence the result. But what if that's not how it works? What if, like the roses, we're meant to simply turn toward the light and trust that we're being guided? I stood up, my knees protesting slightly, and I looked at the garden as the sun finally broke the horizon, and I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. Not the peace that comes from having answers, but the peace that comes from realizing you don't need all the answers. Someone else has those. Your job is just to show up, pay attention, and follow the light when you see it. Think about a time in your life when something didn't go according to plan, but it worked out better than you could have imagined. Drop a comment right now and just type roses. I want to know this is resonating with you. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that button because I'm sharing more of these real conversations. Let me tell you about signs. Once I had that realization in the garden, I started noticing them everywhere. Signs I'd been blind to my entire life, or maybe not blind, but dismissive. I'd chalked them up to coincidence. But there's no such thing as random chance. Not really. You know what I'm talking about? You're thinking about someone you haven't spoken to in years, and that afternoon they call. You're struggling with a problem, and a stranger says exactly the answer you needed. You pick up a book, and it falls open to a page with a sentence that speaks directly to your situation. You miss a train, and that delay prevents you from being somewhere you shouldn't have been. These aren't accidents. These are messages. My mother, Big Martha, she understood this. She passed away in 2007, and I miss her every day. She was incredibly practical, but had this intuitive side. She'd say, "Martha, pay attention. The universe is talking, but you're not listening." I thought it was just sentimentality. I was always so focused on doing, on achieving. Listening felt passive. Passive felt like weakness. But she was right. She used to tell me, God whispers before he shouts. I'd ignore small warnings, small nudges, and then something bigger would happen. A business deal that fell through when I'd ignored my gut feeling. A friendship that ended badly when I'd sensed early on something was off. The whispers are always there first. That subtle feeling in your stomach when something isn't quite right. That persistent thought that keeps returning. That dream that stays with you all day. That coincidence that happens once, then twice, then 3 times until you finally pay attention. These are whispers. And if we'd just listened to the whispers, we wouldn't need the shouts. Just last month, I was supposed to attend a business dinner in Manhattan. Everything was scheduled. But that morning, I woke up with this strong pull to cancel. No logical reason. I wasn't sick. The weather was fine. The meeting was important. But the feeling was so strong, so I listened. I canceled. That evening, instead of being at the dinner, I received a call from a friend I hadn't spoken to in over a year. She was going through something difficult, really struggling. She said she'd almost not called because she figured I'd be too busy. But something told her to try. We talked for 2 hours, and what I was able to share helped, really helped. She told me later it might have saved her from making a terrible decision. Was that coincidence? Or was I being guided to be exactly where I needed to be for her in that moment? I know what I believe. Here's what I've learned, and this is important. When you feel most alone, you're actually being invited into the deepest connection available to you. There are moments in life where the loneliness feels almost physical. It's not just being by yourself. It's feeling unseen, unheard, like you're moving through the world and nobody really knows you're there. I know this feeling intimately. At 83, even with success, wonderful friends, my animals and gardens, there are moments of profound solitude. Mornings when I wake up and the house is quiet, and I think about all the people who aren't here anymore. My mother, my father, friends I've lost, even my ex-husband Andy, despite everything. And in those moments, there's a choice. You can let the loneliness consume you, or you can recognize it for what it actually is. It's not emptiness. It's space. Space for something greater to fill. After my mother died, I was devastated. For weeks, I'd walk through my house and feel this crushing sense of loss. One evening, I was sitting in my library in the twilight, and the loneliness felt overwhelming. And then something happened. I can't fully explain. I felt a presence, not physical, but absolutely real. A warmth, a comfort, a sense of being held. And I knew I wasn't alone, that I'd never been alone. If you're listening right now and feeling lost, if you're navigating life without a map, I need you to hear this. The very fact that you're here, that you found this video, that something in you is seeking answers, that itself is evidence that you're being guided. The loneliness you feel isn't punishment, It's an invitation. Comment below if you've ever felt like the peace you were promised keeps getting delayed. Just type delayed or received. Be honest and subscribe because the next conversation is going to surprise you. Now, let me tell you something that might change how you think about your entire life. We spend so much time searching for our purpose, our big purpose, the reason we're here, and I think we've got it all wrong. I spent decades thinking my purpose was to build Martha Stewart Living Omnimedia, to become the first self-made female billionaire, to write books, have television shows, create products in thousands of stores. And it was meaningful, but it wasn't my purpose. Because here's what I've learned. Your purpose isn't one big thing you do. It's 1,000 small things. It's the moments you show up, fully present, for whatever is in front of you. It's the smile you give the cashier who looks exhausted. It's the call you make to the friend who's been on your mind. It's the way you notice the light hitting the trees and you pause just for a second to appreciate it. Purpose isn't something you find. It's something you live, moment by moment. Think about my friendship with Snoop Dogg. People find it bizarre, but that friendship has taught me more about joy, about not taking myself too seriously than any business achievement ever did. Your purpose today might be to forgive someone. Tomorrow it might be to create something beautiful. Next week it might be to sit with a grieving friend and just listen. And that's perfect, because life isn't about one destination. It's about the journey, and every step of that journey has meaning. The universe doesn't need you to cure cancer or become president, though if that's your path, wonderful. The universe needs you to be fully alive right where you are, to notice beauty, to offer kindness, to tell the truth, to show up with your whole heart for whatever small moment is in front of you. So please, if you've been feeling like you haven't found your purpose yet, or you missed it somehow, or you're too old now, stop. Your purpose is in the next conversation you have. It's in how you treat the next person you encounter. It's in whether you choose fear or love, judgment or compassion. That's it. That's the whole thing. And when you stop trying to force some grand purpose and just show up fully for each moment, the universe can actually guide you, because you're not so busy pushing your own agenda that you miss the signs. You're fluid. You're open. You're available. Let me give you practical advice, because this isn't just philosophy. This is about how you actually live day to day. How do you tune into this guidance? First, you need silence. Daily silence. I don't mean meditation necessarily. I mean time with no input. No phone, no television, no music. Just you and the quiet. For me, it's my early morning time in the garden, but it could be 5 minutes sitting by a window. The world is so loud now. In all that noise, you cannot hear the still, small voice trying to guide you. Second, pay attention to your body. Your body knows things before your mind does. You walk into a room and immediately feel uncomfortable, but you can't say why. That's your body reading energy. Trust it. When I'm considering something, I close my eyes and imagine having done it. If I feel heavy, contracted, tight, that's a no. If I feel light, open, spacious, that's a yes. Third, follow joy. The things that make you feel genuinely alive, not forced happiness, but real joy, those are markers showing you the direction. If you're doing something and time disappears, that's a sign. Fourth, when a door closes, bless it and move on. Don't waste energy trying to force it open. I've wasted years trying to make things work that were never meant to work. Now, when a door closes, I trust it's closing for a reason. Maybe I'm being protected from something I can't see yet. The closed doors are protecting you. Fifth, pay attention to patterns. When the same theme keeps showing up in different forms, that's not coincidence. Maybe 3 people mention the same book in 1 week. Read the book. I had a period 5 years ago where I kept hearing the word surrender over and over. And I realized surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means giving over, releasing control to something that has a better view. Sixth, distinguish between fear and intuition. Fear is loud, frantic, desperate. It comes with stories about terrible things. Intuition is quiet, calm, certain. It doesn't have a big story. It's just a knowing. And finally, practice gratitude for everything, even the hard stuff. Every morning before I do anything else, I say thank you out loud. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this breath. And I thank whatever is coming, even if I don't know what it is yet. Gratitude is the frequency of receptivity. So there you have it. 7 practical ways to tune into the guidance that's always available. Silence, body awareness, following joy, honoring closed doors, noticing patterns, distinguishing fear from intuition, practicing gratitude. You don't need special training. You just need to be willing to pay attention. I'm 83 years old. I've built an incredible life and weathered terrible storms. And what I know now that I didn't know at 30 or 40 or even 60 is this. You don't have to do it alone. You were never meant to do it alone. There's a guidance system that is always available to you, always leading you toward what's highest and best, always protecting you, always loving you. Your job isn't to figure it all out. Your job isn't to control every outcome. Your job is just to show up, pay attention, follow the light when you see it, and trust that even when you can't see it, it's still there, guiding you home. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you recognized a sign? When was the last time you followed your intuition and it was right? Drop a comment below and tell me. Share your story because your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to keep having these real conversations. The honest ones about faith and life and what really matters as we get older. Next week, I'm sharing something I've never talked about publicly, something about gratitude and what I'm calling everyday miracles, the small things that happen that are actually quite large if you know how to see them. You are being guided right now, always. Trust that. Trust yourself. Trust the process. And know that you are never, ever alone. Thank you for being here.